Episode 14 of Season 4 of The Paper Thing with me, the Broken Bottle Boy, here on Twitch. Today's episode, it's war. It's not war. As the papers lose their minds over France. Now, I haven't told the world that we're here, so it's just me talking. What's that? And you, I know, but you're not on camera. You're over there doing actual work as opposed to whatever I do. Quote tweet. The show is live. Tune in. www.twitch.tv/Broken Bottle Boy. Good afternoon, Industrial Pet. How are you doing? Thank you for joining the Discord. Much appreciated. Right, boom. That's gone. Now, pop it in.
Sorry.
Okay. Are you going to be able to avoid swearing at your annoying work today?
Yeah.
You don't have to, though. You can. It just adds another texture to the show. The show is live. Here. The show is live. Okay, cool. Good afternoon, Slinkermeyer. Good afternoon, Yuan. Yes, I am all right. Thank you very much, Industrial Pet. So, it's well, put it this way, right? It could have been a 4-paper show, but I just don't think we've got the time. So, it's a magazine special. Where is the... Oh, it's there. It's a magazine special of a 1964 gossip magazine, Off the Record Secrets, which you can see in the frame now. And then we will do the Mirror, the Times, and the Daily Mail. The Telegraph was available to look at, and I have got it in my pile. But frankly, it's just... I don't think we've got the time, and also it's a real pain in the ass to get through, and we don't cover the Mirror very often. But first, we're going to start by looking at Off the Record Secrets, a magazine from 1964, which was purchased for me by a person in the room, and which shows a lot of the gossip coverage we get now. You can see the heritage of that in a magazine like this. So let's look at the front cover of Off the Record Secrets first. So the main story on this issue from, as I say, January. Is it January 1964? I think June. Let me check inside. I think. Yes, of this January 1964 issue of Off the Record Secrets. Goes with, did Sammy see Christine in Paris or a stripper? They write about the orgy Ekberg had for millionaires only, and a classic sort of Daily Mail style story there, the men who want to give you cancer. Good afternoon, Mark Canosis. You missed it yesterday because you were out record shopping. African Head Charge, Algerian Rye, 90s hip hop, 90s dancehall, reggae 12 inches, some early acid trance. Nicely eclectic. So, right, let's get into Off the Record Secrets. Inside, they were selling you some diamonds. And then a way to stop smoking. Just 1 week from today, you can stop smoking or cut down and control it with the revolutionary cigarine. I never dreamed it could be so easy, says someone. Your body absorbs tars, nicotine, carbon dioxide, and 25 other deadly poisons. But this can help you stop with no drugs, no pills, and no Herculean willpower. Right, so we quickly get to the contents page. Things that you can look forward to in this issue if you were time traveling back to 1964. As we say, the men who want to give you cancer on page 14. Bikini Beach, Flesh market of the jet set on page 18. 24, the gigantic trading stamp racket. 28, the facts about aphrodisiacs. In the Hollywood lowdown, the orgy Eckbert does for millionaires. Did Sammy Davis Jr. see Christine Keeler in Paris? Rex Harrison and what makes him run. The great Marilyn Monroe exploitation. In the international section, how Soviet Russia discovered sex. And in the inside story section, how the Fred Astaire dance studios lure customers. What's behind the wig mania? What is behind the wig mania? Inquiring minds want to know. And Suburbia, America's shocking sex slums. Yes. And finally, featurette, teenage goofballs and glue sniffing parties. Teenage goofball, baby. Fredericks of Hollywood had a lingerie spread here. Anything appeal to you there in the Fredericks of Hollywood lingerie spread? A padded girdle.
I do like a pointy bra.
Yeah, new curve. Just keep saying pointy bra.
Pointy bra.
Bra. Okay. Right, so moving on to the orgy Eckberg does for millionaires. Pretty racy for 1964. In fact, racy for today. The Daily Mail would cover this up. I wonder what makes a sex slum a sex slum. Well, we're gonna find out, aren't we? Sex slum. You're my sex slum. All right, so now we're into the meat of the story here on the Anita Ekberg orgy. When Anita Ekberg left Rome for Hollywood recently, she tossed a farewell blast that lasted 3 days and was finally stopped by the cops. Anita reeled into town on a jet and headed for LA. No sooner had her plane set down in California than she was off to another blast. A blast. We need to bring that slang back for parties. Anita's got the strength of 4 Vikings, and a good thing too, or she would never have made it onto the set the next morning. But she didn't, none the worse for wear. As a matter of fact, it was 2 days and 2 long nights before the Swedish iceberg let up, and this set something of a record. She's been on a non-stop party for 1 day short of a week. How did she feel at the end of the blast? Well, it's a pity we can't print her own words, but you seldom see those words in print. The orgy all started back in Rome. Anita had been scheduled to depart Rome on a Monday morning, but the previous Sunday night, the iceberg asked in a few of her friends to help clean out the icebox. After the leftovers were all nibbled up, the bongo drums came on, the shoes came off, and the vino flowed gently, like the sweet Afton. Gently but steadily. In case you didn't know it, Anita's married now to an American actor named Rick Von Netter. And Rick racked up when he married Anita. Not only did he get the Swedish dish herself, and you must admit there's plenty of smorgasbord for all there, but he got a set of his and hers keys to one of the most swinging villas along the Appian Way. So it goes on. They went to a pizza parlour. Between Monday and Wednesday night, when Anita finally got on her plane, it was fun and games from the Colosseum to the catacombs. Anita hit it big in Italy as the gal who put the sweetness in the sweet life. Or as it read on the marquees, La Dolce Vita. Meanwhile, in Paris, did Sammy Davis Jr. hang out with Christine Keeler? I suspect not. When Sammy Davis Jr. went to Paris on a holiday recently, he almost found himself sharing space on page 1 with Christine Keeler, the London party girl who very nearly toppled Her Majesty's government. One of the oldest rackets, hand in hand with the oldest profession, was waiting for Sammy in Paris. Blimey. Hey, good afternoon. Not the most flattering picture of Sammy Davis Jr. there, where he was pictured exchanging views with a young French girl. And they call him a real goodwill ambassador. Toppled Her Majesty. Right, here's the really grotesque thing. The men who want to give you cancer. Until the tobacco industry and the federal government assume their individual responsibilities towards you, you will never be protected against the men who would willingly sacrifice your health to financial gain and political power. It's a bit ahead of the time here. The anti-smoking thing could perhaps connect with the anti-smoking advert earlier in the paper. So yeah, a massive handbrake turn here from that light-hearted, if salacious, report on Anita Ekberg bombing around Europe to this pretty serious article on the risks of cancer from smoking. Meanwhile, Bikini Beach, flesh market of the jet set. It's go, go, go from dusk till dawn when the fun seekers of cafe society get swinging on the French Riviera. Belly painting, whiskey shampoos in the nude, and yogurt facials are the tamest pastimes indulged in by the kooky crowd that makes this fast-moving marketplace of passion the hottest playground under the sun, writes Jack Baker. Didn't the French nuke Bikini Atoll? They did. That's right. This is not. This is a beach in the Riviera. Yeah, various pictures of 60s ladies at it. Hi, Mr. Gump. Right, the gigantic trading stamp racket. As you push the little cart around, loading it with goodies, you're being pushed around yourself by one of the slickest high-pressure rackets in Madison Avenue's skin game. It's a fantastic deal where you get something for nothing after you paid for it. A lot. This is. There's a lot of reading in here, though. Here we go. We've now got to commie sex romps. From behind the Iron Curtain, how Russia discovered sex. Even the Reds themselves have been forced to admit that the USSR's morals are disintegrating. The first time, and here, told for the first time anywhere, is a full report on the rampaging rebels that are giving the Kremlin its biggest headache since Stalin organised his first firing squad. Fucking hell, that is some lead. Here's a picture of some nudie communist party girls. A new breed in the rising Soviet economy. It's a twist of free enterprise, but there's nothing free about the fee. These bikinied beauties were photographed on a beach on the Black Sea. The Soviets maintain a swank resort, subs to check, for deserving party members and biggies. Girls are among the services provided. Yeah, heaven forbid commies do sex and enjoy it. Slinker, I think fucking the USR is the least morally problematic issue here. Who in the Home Office orchestrated this article in this magazine? Yeah, I mean, this is a US magazine, so I expect a good chunk of CIA funding going into off-the-record secrets. The full facts about aphrodisiacs, here at last, in plain, simple language, is everything you should know about all those miracle love potions and bedroom boosters. It says, Lucia Donato smiled. Grazie, she murmured politely to the portly middle-aged man who had asked her to join him in an afternoon cup of espresso in his office. Live bosomy Lucia was 19 years old, and an aspiring actress. The man in whose office she sat was Arnalfo Manin, one of Rome's lesser-known but still fairly successful talent representative. Lucia Donato had come to see Manin in hopes that the agent would consent to represent her and help her obtain the Cinecittà motion picture bit roles, which would have put her on the road to fame and success. He offered the girl coffee, and she drank it. She and the agent continued to talk for a few minutes, then suddenly Lucia felt ill. At first she experienced a burning pain in her throat. She thought it would pass and said nothing, but instead of going away, the painful burning sensation became more intense and began to spread through her body. It reached her stomach and she felt as though her internal organs were on fire. Manning had been watching the girl closely, craftily, but obviously her reactions were not what he expected. He started to look worried and half rose from his chair. Right, so what's he put in her drink? The doctor went to visit, said, "What have you given this girl?" he demanded. Nothing at all, came the reply. Then, "It was only a joke. I didn't intend anything like this," Manin stammered fearfully. You merely wanted to have sexual relations with the girl," the doctor broke in furiously. "So you gave her cantharides to excite her, and now she is dying." Luciana Donato died in convulsions a few moments before the ambulance arrived. Jesus Christ, this is some dark stuff here. Moving on, Rex Harrison, what makes him run? Every critic agreed the real sensation of the £60 million Cleo movie is Sexy Rexy. Yet how many really knew about the personal life of fabulous Rex Harrison? A man who was terrified of flying, puzzled by money, a constant worrier, a hypochondriac, and so superstitious he hates to close a door or drawer because it seems final. Fucking hell. Yeah, that was very grim. The sexual assault drug death article. Anyway, lots of stuff on Rex Harrison there. High society's hottest divorce scandal. A pretty girl, they say, is like a melody. When men saw Margaret Wigham, they thought they heard a whole chorus of angels singing. This writing is bad, but it's not got any better in the modern press. She was that beautiful, slender, perfectly proportioned, with a complexion like magnolia petals and lustrous green eyes. Margaret was the toast of the international set from the day she made her debut at Buckingham Palace. Heiress to millions, the daughter of doting parents, Margaret had everything any woman could possibly hope for. The glittering world of international society was at her feet. And then... this is Duchess of Argyle. So this is about the Duchess of Argyle. Here's the behind the boudoir stories of the shocking courtroom revelation that had international blue bloods blushing bright red for more than 4 years. What's behind the wig mania of women at the moment? There's some pretty... wig. What does it say is behind wig mania?
Russians.
Presumably Russians, yeah. Let's assume that. Hair today, gone tomorrow is the subhead they put on that. Suburbia, America's Shocking Sex Slums, by Kenneth Healy. How much boodle you've got in the bank? Boodle, I guess that's slang for money. And how many babes you can get in bed. Those are the true status symbols of these jerry-built communities where the average guy doesn't covet his neighbour's wife. Hell, he's had her already. And we get a man in a quite thrush-threatening thong there. One of the most remarkable social phenomena of the post-World War II period has been the mass exodus of American city dwellers to suburban areas. Almost overnight, vast suburban communities have mushroomed. These were long touted as the ideal solution to all city dwellers' problems. For years after VE Day, social theoreticians were predicting that the move from city to suburbia would make for longer, happier life and relaxed living free from stresses, strains and pressures. Today, a very considerable percentage of the American populace lives in suburban communities, which... continued on page 69. We'll come back to that. Meanwhile, teenage goofballs and glue-sniffing parties. It used to be hot rods and hoops that threatened our youth. But today, a kid's not with it, man, unless he or she indulges in one of these rocket-age jolts of dynamite concocted from goofballs or model airplane stickum. It's a sure way to make the scene, or at least hospital bed, or slab in the morgue. The great Marilyn Monroe exploitation... the greatest of the love goddesses has found that even death is no shield from parasites and fair weather friends. Blimey. Pays you $1,000 a week, $100 a week for 52 weeks. New low-cost service life insurance. Funny that ad comes straight after the hopped up on goofballs thing. And having got you excited about wigs, of course, there's a full-page ad for wigs. Tag yourself. I'm 102. Other ads. Enjoy rollicking bedside fun. Here's entertainment for open minds and ticklish spines. Here's lusty, merry recreation for unsqueamish men and women. Here's life with apologies to none. Selected from the best there is. The zestful primer is an eye-opener for the inexperienced. Wisdom for designing... merriment for all. You'll find it a blueprint for uninhibited living, an ideal bedside companion. Basically, it's a dirty book called The Pleasure Primer, and they send it to you. They would send it to you in a plain wrapper. So there you go. Also, ads for acne pills. A big ad from this man who promises to help you become less physically, if not spiritually, bald. Yeah, this is all very Hollywood Babylon. There's an advert for Love Powder, coming straight from France. In France, they tell of a druggist who sold a love powder for straying husbands. One night, his own wife secretly gave him the treatment with all too effective results. This hilarious story, which shows how to take aphrodisiacs in wedlock, really happened. It's a true life comedy, thinly veiled, one of the 17 such diversions in The Queen of Caper. So roll down the blinds, fuff up the pillows, and sample Her Majesty's magic powder. Jesus Christ. So it's a comedy book. Girdle for men here. This guy looks delighted to be wearing what looks like a giant nappy. The figure slimmer. An ad for a book that will teach you how to solve tough maths equations. An ad for a book about sexy Greek goings on. Classified adds Buddy Bregman Music Productions wants poems to develop into new songs for recording and promotion. Buddy has been a musical director for such top artists as Eddie Fisher and Ella Fitzgerald. A big page selling various different erotic books. More on the figure belts, song poems. Reach for greater protection. A genuine Enfield revolver. Yours for $19.50. Limited offer. Revolvers fully guaranteed. The ideal weapon for the plainclothes detective. Because, of course, if you're a plainclothes detective, you'd be looking for your weapon in the classified ads of off-the-record secrets. Song poem phenomenon's amazing. Total scam. Did lead to loads of very weird records. Big fan of that. They trying to sell you a striptease pen. Continuing from the story about sex in the USSR. Of late, the USSR has been plagued by a rash of such incidents. In May 1963, just a month after the Novikov Sopilinayak executions, 5 Russian youths were shot by firing squads in a large industrial city about 500 miles from Moscow. The Soviet punks used to hang around street corners. They stole and pilfered to obtain extra money, and they amused themselves by committing mass rapes among young girls they found walking along the streets. I mean, this is completely made up. The rising tide of Soviet sex crime and sexuality is hardly limited to the lower levels of the highly stratified, albeit purportedly classless, society in the USSR. This just screams CIA. One of the subheads there just reads, "No prostitutes?" Another full page of ads for naughty books. And continuing in that article, a subheading that reads, Stalin's sexcapades. Yes, as Feedbacker said, Stalin was a horn dog. Stalin's sexual obsessions degenerated into sadism directed at girls of more and more tender age. Certain numbers of these young women and girls are understood to have disappeared in mysterious circumstances. They had been recruited in a sort of veritable harem by Lavrenti Beria. Well, we know this is true. Beria was a paedophile, psychopath, torturer. But the fun and games, which were everyday fare for Stalin and Beria, were prohibited for the rest of the people in Russia. Not even middle-bracket communist officials could hope to have harems or toss wild parties. What's the point of being a middle-ranking Soviet officer if you can't have your own harem? One reliable straw in the wind is supplied by Russian newspapers, government publications, and the lectures delivered before workers, youth, culture, and other groups. Adultery is deplored, even denounced as being unworthy of Soviet citizens, and a form of depraved behaviour more fitted to the bourgeois pattern. That the Reds would go to such lengths to condemn adultery can only mean one thing: that adultery is becoming a major problem in the workers' paradise. And down here we get the really quite horrendous subhead, Teenage Tart. So, yeah. More sinister stuff from that article about aphrodisiacs. Say the secret word, snap your fingers, they are hypnotized, ready to do your command. Scam ad for hypnotism. What hypnotism thing? Yeah. A waist slimmer that slims your waist to between 2 and 4 inches. Women. The men's one was further back, yeah. Okay, more on the suburban sex slum. Why should the status seekers and their wives living in the suburbs be more prone to suffer from diseases than men and women living in big cities? The answer is that the suburbanites are bored, frustrated, restless. Yeah. It may be the husband who strays first. The reversal of marital roles places him in what might be termed a secondary position within the home. Of course, he is the one who foots the bill for the place, but the chances are that the greater percentage of decisions made for and in the house are made by his wife. foots the bill, apparently. Revenge, sexual frustration, boredom, any one of these motives or a combination of the two or more can push the suburban wife toward infidelity. This is just like completely made up. This is just the suburbs are shit and people go and have sex. Girls use sex as their revenge method, although the suburban-dwelling boys tend to call their groups clubs or car clubs rather than gangs. The likeness between them and their city counterparts is often alarming.
I joined the car club in Norwich.
Yeah.
You're telling me it's a secret cover for a sex cult?
No, secret cover for a violent gang. Rumbles have been known to occur between clubs from rival suburban neighbourhoods, both on the West Coast and in several East Coast states. The rules of turf and territory are identical. Oh, mate, this is... Love it. Love it. And on the back page, if husbands only knew, sex life in marriage illustrated. Who is to blame? If husbands only knew how much they're missing, they would not wait another moment to read Sex Life in Marriage. Many men, even those who have been married a long time, don't get half the delight because they don't know the knack of sexual intercourse. Who is to blame? But this is not all. What of the wife? In all too many cases, she is cheated out of her sex rights. The sex act becomes a one-sided affair. The husband thinks his wife is at fault. The wife thinks her husband is to blame. Right, so here's a list...
My sex rights.
Here's a list of the contents of the book of Sex Life in Marriage Illustrated. Contents. The sex side of marriage. Sex organs. Brackets. Details. Disappointed wives. Need for statutory sex in marriage. Sex rights of married couples. The female sex organs. Described and explained. The male sex organs. Described and explained. Sensation providing areas when sex power fails. When husband and wife cannot keep pace. The right to refuse. Unequal sex desire. Sexual slowness in women. Signs of sex desire. The unresponsive wife. The bridal night. Positions for sexual intercourse with recommendations. The several steps of coitus. Prolonging sex union.
Long sex union, that's a great name for a band.
Name of your 80s band. Coitus without orgasm. Easing sex tension. The frigid wife. And making the honeymoon last forever. 12 rules for a happy marriage. This is where Jordan Peterson got some of his... Jordan Peterson and Ben Shapiro could be writing this today. And of course, on the back page, another ad for hypnotism. And finally, an accounting course that you can go on even if you're a woman. So that was from January 1964. You did beat me to the Ben Shapiro joke there, Ged Station. That is from 1964. Off the record secrets from January 1964. It's in the minus numbers for a rating, but how can we rate it with our today's modern perspectives? It's horrendous, so horrendous. Anyway, that was Off the Record Secrets. Do let me know if you want to have more historical magazine reviews, and we'll buy some more historical magazine to review. But for now, we're going to move on to the modern papers, and I'm just going to continue to live in fear of the men who want to give you cancer. Right, so that was Off the Record Secrets. Now we move on to Mark Notice. I love that this is roughly the same time as the George Melly anecdote about rubber sadomasochism and bars full of engine oil. Stunning Fangirl found a sex head book written by a female doctor in the 50s called something like The Pleasure of Sexual Submission on Gutenberg. Okay. No women in accounting, says Comrade Wolfie. Lady counting, says Guybrush Tweet Good. This chat is amazing. I can't go back through and do all these, but remove the 95 Theses next. Yeah, all right. Why not? No, of course not. Right, okay, so here we go. Let's get the Daily Mirror in here. Okay, so we're not doing the Sun thing, we're doing the Mirror. The Mirror, front page of the Mirror, the heart of Britain, so it says. 9 babies for mum, age 25. This is a woman who's had non-tuplets. There's exclusive. Graham Norton's apparently got a £250,000 pay rise for his BBC show. Why? Grimly presented news around the killing of Julia James. They say that they've tested her dog to see whether the killer's DNA is on the dog, basically. And the main story: Boris sends in gunboats. It's war. It's not war. Navy heads to Jersey in French fishing row. PM accused of election ploy because it is an election ploy. Yeah. Moving inside the paper, George Clooney is 60 today. They've got a story about him in a new Warburton's ad. Jeremy Clarkson is fuming after a fox killed 34 of his hens. I wish that... Never mind. Redacted. On page 5, Doe Graham Norton is the headline. Doe Graham Norton. So Graham Norton, not good. BBC stars pay up by $250,000 to nearly $4 million. BBC star Graham Norton's radio and TV earnings soared by £250,000, accounts show. The star received $3.23 million from his production company, So Television, in 2019, an increase of £262,755 on the $297 million he got the year before. Along with his BBC Radio 2 salary of $725,000, he pocketed $3.95 million. It dwarfs the $1.75 the BBC's official top earner, Gary Lineker, was paid. The thing about this is, it's not clear that that money came as a bump in salary for his TV show. It's just that the earnings of his company went up. Anyway, Dennis Reed, whose group Silverline is urging the government to make the TV license free again for over 75s, said Norton's payday was a shock. Oh, fucking hell. 76% of voters want lying in politics made illegal. How the fuck would that even work? But also, like, what the fuck does that even mean? This comes from a... This comes from a study by the fucking ludicrous Compassion in Politics campaign. Right, moving on. Mumble-evable. Joy and shock after Malian woman gives birth to 9 babies. Okay. There we go. Vote for a better future is what Keir Starmer says. Well, from him. Fucking hell. Page 11, PCSO's dog tested for killer's DNA. Julia pictured as she looked on day she was murdered. It's a horrendous thing. Navy sent into Jersey. Boris orders 2 patrol ships into island in French fishing row. I mean, fucking ludicrous. Of course, sad news. Nick Harmon, who famously starred in the Levi's advert, stripping down to his boxers to I Heard It Through the Grapevine, has died. He was also a pop star. Amanda Cardinay said, Nick's the best looking man I've ever seen in my life. Tanika Tickeram paid tribute. For some reason, Tanika Tickeram follows me on Twitter. Don't know why. On page 14, NHS or police will kill me. Trial told of footballer Dalian Atkinson's fear. Horrible, horrible. Shirty dancing. Strictly star Ballas in talks to do movie about her life. Right. On pages 16 and 17, Robbie backs Mirror's football kit campaign. I helped my dad put up goalposts for his grassroots team. Now I'm running a kid's side of my own. What is the Mirror's campaign? Utilia Kits for Kids 2021. What is the campaign? You say, oh, supports the campaign. I need to find out what it is. Oh, it's just like making sure kids get kits. I think one of the campaigns should be get betting firms off football kits. That's what I want to see happen. Certainly, I want to see my own team, Norwich City, ditch the betting firm that currently supports it. It used to be that the team was sponsored by Coleman's. Obviously, it doesn't exist anymore, but a local business. It was a good thing. But no, fucking Daffabet or whatever sponsors it now. On page 19, Nick hit by pup ear cut storm. Charity wants boxer Adams to condemn dog cropping. Nicola Adams and her model girlfriend Ella Baig have been blasted for owning an American bulldog with mutilated ears. The Olympic boxer posted pictures of her dog Brooklyn on Facebook in January 2019, showed him as a 10-week-old puppy with floppy ears. But Miss Baig's Instagram account has a save story that appears to show the couple welcoming a crop-eared Brooklyn into their home aged 5 months. Fans of Adams have expressed outrage online and branded ear cropping barbaric and disgusting. It is barbaric and disgusting, and they shouldn't do it. Like, don't cut dogs' ears. Why the fuck? Just... Mark Canosis, a woman in Shelbyville has just had 10 babies. Studying fangirl, to nab my mum's line, my uterus hurts. Yu-Gi-Oh! Get betting firms only on kids kits. I like the chaotic energy of that. Katie Piper says, how I beat bullying by being kind. Step back and say, this isn't about me. This is about the person trolling online, says Katie Piper. The Mirror has a stop online hate campaign, which, given that they chose to have it partly fronted by Rachel Riley, is ludicrous. On page 25, they talk about the new Paul McCartney stamps, which are fine, I guess. Ant and Dec have teamed up with Prince Charles to help youngsters find a dream role in television. Maybe Prince Charles could help his brother Edward, who tried to be in television and was so bad at it. In Penman Investigates, he looks into various charlatans, including Brian Rose, the American-born independent candidate standing for London Mayor. He just notes that he's had loads of very dodgy guests on the show with dodgy finance connections. A stamps, no coin. Agreed. Mark Canosis, if anything, you should be taping additional ears onto your dog. Yeah, more ears. Multi-ears. Here's a good picture of a lion yawning. A town is angry about there's anger because Hungerford in Berkshire is trying to move its pigeons 250 miles away to Whitby. But the offer of a Whitby wildlife charity to relocate them to avoid a cull has infuriated locals in the Yorkshire town. Mum of three, Dee Jessup, said, "We don't want Hungerford's pigeons. We've got enough problems with seagulls who mess everywhere and try to eat holidaymakers' sandwiches. They are flying rats. Why us?" Hungerford Town Centre has had a pigeon problem for years, with around 200 living under a nearby railway bridge. Its Deputy Mayor Keith Knight welcomed the offer to move them up north. Apparently, they wouldn't fly back here from such a location. We've tried other alternatives without any progress. We're going round in circles. Town Clerk Claire Baines added, "A bird lover offered to collect the pigeons for free so they're not culled and take them to Whitby Wildlife Charity, where they will live in an aviary before being released on a farm." Whitby Town Clerk Michael King said, "The council hasn't been approached and doesn't have a position on it. Pigeons aren't much of a problem here, but gulls certainly are." Nice. And the headline on that, by the way, is, "We don't fancy having southern pigeons here. None of your London pigeons up here." Colleen Nolan, who is their agony aunt for some reason, answers letters on someone who caught her friend making a drunken pass at her husband, someone who saw that her stepdad was messaging other people, someone whose ex hangs around all the time. Yeah. I don't know why would you write into the Mirror to ask Colleen Nolan for advice? In the TV recommendations, they see Ian Wright's Home Truths, which is a documentary about horrific childhood abuse, is their pick of the day, 9 p.m. Taskmaster is on Channel 4, 9 p.m. Coroner is on More 4 at 9 p.m. and EastEnders 7:30 and Emmerdale 7 p.m. And in the sport, mad for it, Istan, bullseye, rampant Chelsea in final as they outclass Madrid. Chelsea 2, Real Madrid 0. For me, the Mirror is a very boring paper. I give it a 0. It's never as bad as the Sun, but it's never entertaining. Give me your scores for that. Stonian Fangirl, petition for men to keep it in their pants. Agreed. Industrial Pet, not going to lie, but the real ones know the best thing about gulls is that when they attack tourists, so that whole complaint was sus. Also, pigeons are beautiful and do not spread disease. Marcanosis, 1, extremely phoned in. Yeah, gulls out of 10 from Industrial Pet, a 1 from Red Tick Seed, a 2 from Feedbacker, and a 2 from Slinker Comrade Wolfie, like a 0, it's just beige. Yeah, that's the problem. This is why I don't cover it very often, because we don't get a lot from it. Right, so moving on to our second of 3 papers for the day, and this is the Times. Of course, the Times, again, goes with the gunboats to Jersey story. Navy ships sail for Jersey over row with France. Up at the top of the page, troubles veterans protected. This is the government saying it's going to make it illegal to prosecute soldiers. Also, some of those involved in terrorist acts during the Troubles. But, like, the weirdest and sickest spin on this is them claiming that they're going to do a Mandela-style truth and reconciliation process. Comrade Wolfie, oh, look at that boat. I'm so hard for war with the frogs now. I know, look at this tiny, tiny boat. The HMS Seven, one of 2 armed patrol vessels, heading for the Channel Islands last night after reports of a planned blockade. I mean, Jesus Christ. Oh, by the way, we're not doing the Telegraph, right? But I just want to read you this one quote from a government source from the Telegraph's front page story on the war with France, right? Yesterday, government sources accused Paris of sinking lower than the island's Nazi occupiers in the Second World War. At least when the Germans invaded, they kept the lights on, a source said. Fucking hell. That quote, by the way, repeated in The Sun and by John Stevens in the Mail, which we will get to. By the way, the French have sent a boat as well. So, it's all go. It's all go. They've sent a patrol vessel. Last story on that front page. Tories take 10-point poll cushion into election day. Yeah, it's going to be an embarrassment for Starmer. Inside, this is a story that's going to piss some of you off, certainly piss me off. Lords revolt over Queen of Cricket. So, Claire Connor, who's the first woman to become MCC president, said she wants to create a permanent memorial at Lords in the form of a statue and gate to the world's most celebrated woman in the game. Rachel Hayhoe-Flint, Captain England, was one of the first women to become a member of the MCC following her long campaign for it to change its male-only admission policy. What is the headline on this? Lords revolt over the Queen of Cricket. And what is the subhead? Plans for a memorial to England's most famous female star have upset some MCC stalwarts. I think when they say stalwart, what they mean is sexist old fucks. Right. Mother gives birth to 9 babies and 2 took her by surprise. They didn't jump out of the womb and bash her on the head. It was that when they did the scan, they only saw 7. That's their one on that. The Times gets a lot of fun out of reporting on the remaining Barclay brother, Sir Frederick Barclay. Barclay ignored court order by selling yacht. A judge has criticised Sir Frederick Barclay for his reprehensible behaviour in selling a luxury yacht against the direction of the court during a £100 million divorce battle with his wife. Mr Justice Cohen said yesterday that Barclay, 86, the reclusive owner of Telegraph newspapers, sold Leander G, what a weird name for a yacht, at 38.3 million, 75-metre super yacht in breach of judicial orders. He said that Barclay repeatedly ignored orders to produce documents or answer questions. Part of his available assets included a luxury yacht which was on the market for sale. I made orders intended to control the sale and the use of the proceeds. He completely ignored those orders, sold the yacht and applied the equity for his own use. I regard that behaviour as reprehensible. I mean, nothing's going to happen to him for doing that, though. Absolute pathetic Tory party arse-licking from the political team at the Times. Johnson rides towards historic hat-trick on Super Thursday. Look at how ridiculous he looks on a bike. Weird, like, I am a Jedi gesture by Risky Sunak. And Stephen Swinford, a stenographer for Number 10, writes, Starmer set for pasting over decision to focus on wallpaper. No, that's not why he's getting a pasting. He's getting a pasting because he's shit. The wallpaper thing is very recent. Super Thursday is a ridiculous US import too. Annika Rice has said she apologised to a flasher because he, in the 80s, because he suddenly realised it was her, and she said that put him off. I don't think we should be printing things that minimise the effects of what is a sex crime. Flashing is a sex crime. At that point, it was not, but since 2003, it was illegal, but not to the same, didn't have nearly as strong a penalties as it does now. But since 2003, flashing has been classified as a sex offence, as it should be. It's not funny, On page 10, pneumonia and flu now kill more people than COVID. Good, I guess. Travellers face hefty bill for tests as NHS jab passport delayed. Oh, it's all going well, isn't it? Gang factories turn £100 Turkish starter pistols into deadly weapons, writes John Simpson, the crime correspondent. This is all you see, this again is propaganda coming out from the NCA, National Crime Agency, and it's in order to try to help Scotland Yard, which is asking for tougher laws. They don't really need tougher laws, but the police is always desperate for tougher laws. Jihadist was lined up for Timpsons, is a story. A probation officer tried to get the Fishmongers Hall killer Usman Khan a job at a Timpson shoe repair shop the day before he stabbed 2 Cambridge graduates to death, the inquest heard. Ken Skelton had rejected Khan's bid to train as a dumper truck driver because vehicles had been used in previous terrorist attacks. Khan, 28, killed Saskia Jones and Jack Merritt, 25, at a conference set up by the Learning Together rehabilitation charity at Fishmongers Hall in London on November 29, 2015. I don't know why they're being... I don't even know why this is a big story. A probation officer tried to do his job before something happened that he could not have predicted was going to happen. Tougher laws mean officers can apply tougher means of policing those laws. Exactly, feedback. And Comrade Sweet going to get me one of those to shoot some people in Minecraft. Industrial Pet, yeah, was almost disappointed to find out I have a candidate worth voting for. I was so resigned to staying at home. Slinkermeyer, almost every single London mayoral candidate is pledging for more cops. Bleak as fuck. Yeah, very well covered in Trash Future's recent episode on this. Right, moving on. Jeff Bezos' space wang has blasted off again. I mean, it looks like a dildo. Peloton has recalled treadmills after the death of a child. Absolutely horrendous. And Peloton now got round to saying, oh yeah, we should have recalled them quicker. Peloton is a ridiculous company, right? I don't understand. People pay thousands and thousands of pounds for a exercise bike that you have to have a subscription to their online service for it to work. Anyway, adults get more generous when children are looking. Most people like to look like they set an example for the next generation. Thanks to researchers, we now have proof adults are more generous in front of children. Studies found adults are twice as likely to donate to charity if youngsters are watching. Youngsters, typical second reference there. Can't say children twice. The amount doubled when there were as many children in the street as strangers. Was a finding from some research. Yeah, all right. More stuff on this ridiculous Royal Marines test of this jet suit. It looks ridiculous, and it is not the most easy or sensible way to move between ships. I mean, this is just arms industry propaganda to get more spending on this kind of shit. Yeah, people are always going to be more generous when people are watching. That's human nature. Yeah, more so when it's children, I guess. What keeps the weight off? Gym and appetite pills, writes Tom Whipple, science editor. More studies of a study published in the New England Journal of Medicine found that appetite suppressants and exercise were an effective means of getting people to deal with serious obesity, but once again, weird eating disorder triggering shit from the Times. Here is a nice picture of a duck The big lad duck, was that an earthquake? York University's resident giant long boy is 17 centimetres tall. Duck has become a viral hit courtesy of his student-run Instagram account. I mean, that was on Twitter, last week? Might have been a couple of days ago, difficult to say. David Aronovich continues to do his act where he's sort of surprised by things and the way the world works. Who's to blame for our shoddy building culture? An industry riddled with corner cutting is possible only because so many of us tried to get our homes built on the cheap. Us? But there's fucking so many of us. Are we fucking house builders? Fucking David Aronovich. Ian Martin is awful. James Marriott, the most fetal of the columnists in the Times, writes, companies become our moral arbiters, where once we look to the church to enrich our souls, we now rely on hypocritical employers. That written there by a man employed by Rupert Murdoch. And Janice Turner joins the ridiculous anti-Meghan Markle thing over her book with, no, Meghan, it's bears children like, not benches. As if Janice Turner believes that the main character of the story told by the Duchess of Sussex is the bench. Right. By the way, if you want more on the media just hysteria over a woman writing a book, go to brokenbottleboys.substack.com and read today's newsletter. In the birthdays today, George Clooney is 60, Dawn 80s. Emeritus Professor of Art History at the University of Essex is 78. Dani Alves, the footballer for Brazil since 2006, is 38. Tony Blair, Prime Minister until 2007, is 68. Dame Rosemary Cramp, archaeologist, first female professor at Durham University, is 92. Jeffrey Deaver, the author of books including The Bone Collector, is 71. Frances Dunn, the chairwoman of the Youth Justice Board until 2014, is 71. Ariel Dorfman, the novelist and playwright, known for things including Death and the Maiden, is 79. Ron Fawcett, the rock climber, is 66. Alexander Ferry, prima ballerina, is 58. Lord Malcolm Forbes, Premier Lord of Scotland, is 75. Charles Hendry, Conservative MP until 2015, is an Energy Minister until 2012, is 62. Sir Tom Hunter, the entrepreneur, West Coast capital and philanthropist, is 60. Lord John Hutton of Furness, the Labour MP until 2010, and Defence Secretary until 2009, is 66. Catherine McIntosh, the violinist, is 74. Kit Martin, the architect, is 74. Archie Harrison, Mountbatten, Windsor, is 2 years old. John Pawson, the architectural designer at Sackler Crossing, Royal Botanic Gardens, Kew, is 72. Sir Craig Reedy, president of the World Anti-Doping Agency, until 2019, is 80. Gloria Richardson, the US civil rights activist, is 99. Duncan Scott, the swimmer, 3-time World Championship gold medalist, is 24. Bob Seger, the musician, is 76. Happy birthday to him. Gabri Sidibe, the actress, is 38. Graham Souness, the footballer and manager, is 68. Jason Tarry, chief executive of Tesco, UK and Republic of Ireland, is 54. David Weir, the wheelchair athlete, 6-time Paralympic gold medalist and 8-time London Marathon winner, is 42. On this day in 1840, the penny black, the world's first adhesive stamp for a public postal system, was valid for use, having been issued on May 1st, 1840. The image of Queen Victoria was based on a sketch made when she was 15 years old. The last word goes to Sergei Prokofiev in his autobiography. My chief virtue, or if you like defect, has been a tireless lifelong search for an original individual musical idiom. I detest imitation. I detest hackneyed phrases. Yodi Stomach Pump's birthday. Is it your birthday today, Yodi Stomach Pump? Happy birthday to you. And Guy Brush Tweet Goods tomorrow. Well, we'll make sure we remember that. In the world news, Macron embraces Napoleon as he tacks to the right. He's well in the right for a long time. And a driver in Germany has taken the rap for a dazzling gold Porsche. Ever since Ferdinand Porsche founded his automobile company in Stuttgart in 1931, the sports cars it's produced have been defined by their practicality, sharp design, and good taste. Is that right? Fortunately, that doesn't always apply to the company's customers. The owner of a Porsche Panamera, in Dresden, was ordered to take his vehicle off the road because it was wrapped in gold vinyl. Police said they acted not on a matter of taste, but because they feared it might dazzle other motorists. The £150,000 vehicle with a Bulgarian number plate was impounded, and its 29-year-old owner warned that it would be subject to road safety review. A traffic official inspected the car and confirmed that it posed a safety risk. Notice that they made a big deal of it having a Bulgarian number plate. What else did Porsche produce from 36 to 45, eh? Yeah, who knows? Who knows? Nobody remembers. Here's a really good picture of a giraffe, and it turns out the scientists can now spot 4 different species from the patterns on them. In Venezuela, Steven Seagal has come out as a backer of Nicolas Maduro. He gave him a sword. Steven Seagal, hero of martial arts films and now a Russian special envoy, gave President Maduro a samurai sword. They are trying to persuade you to tune in to Stig Abel and Asma Mir's breakfast show. I wouldn't recommend it. In the obituaries, Lord Rossmore, our aristocratic photographer and aesthete, who found himself in a high-profile love triangle with Marianne Faithfull and Mick Jagger. Lord Paddy Rossmore, photographer, was born on February 14th, 1931. He died in his sleep on May 4th, 2021. He was 90. Also in the obits, Nick Carmen, obviously, we've already mentioned, model and musician who worked with Madonna and came to symbolise 1980s attitude thanks to his advert for Levi's jeans. And Sir Paul Cosford, medical director of Public Health England, who ensured a calm, quick government response to the Salisbury poisonings. He has died of lung cancer. He was just 57. And in the sport, the full English, Chelsea versus City in Champions League final. Arsenal and United can seal clean sweep. So that was the Times. Seagal is right wing, and that's why he's working for Putin, enemy of us all. No, yeah, I know the sarcasm there. Seagal is a noted right wing blowhard. Well, he's just a pain in the arse. Very deliberate red scare shit from the Times. Yes, to a certain extent. Seagal's an odd guy. He's just an odd guy. He's just like as you would expect from a guy who's an obsessed action hero filmmaker. He's obsessed with strongman. Have you ever heard Seagal's albums? Actually, all right, interesting. Is that because you're applying a low bar to them, or right? I will check that out though. Right. We're moving on to Daily Mail, but let me check do the roll call first. Right, so I am the Broken Bottle Boy. You can follow me on Twitter at Broken Bottle Boy, or on TikTok at Useless Conquest. Going to be doing more of those. In the Mod Squad, Guybrush, Tweet Good today. In the chat, Arid Tracks, Aiton, Bad Motivator, Carbot 14, XYZ, Commander Root, Comrade Wolfie, Yu-Gi-Oh, Feedbacker, Ged Station, Industrial Pet, Chronotherm, Mark Kenosis, Mercutio UK, Mr. Gump, Amiga Jeppe, Rek, Red Tick Seed, Salinka Maya, Snur, Studying Fangirl, Tom Toms, Tara Wrights, The Royal Flush, V&K, Virgo Pros, Yodi Stomach Pump, Happy Birthday to You, Yuan, and of course the excellent Zoe Brings Bacon. Right, now onto the front page of the Daily Mail, and of course, Salinka Maya, my person in the room just said Seagal likes to be known as the Mojo Prince. Nice. Yodi Stomach Pump, to be honest, Mick, most people know me for my defensive new metal, so make up my musical opinions from that. Yes, well, I was on Sinan's emo stream, so, you know, we all have our cross to bear. Red Tick Seed gives the Times a 0.1 out of 10 for the giraffes. Guybrush Tweet Good gives it a seagull out of Putin. And Slinkermeyer gives it a minus 69, not redeemed by Long Duck. Mark Kenosis, minus 90 for the giraffes, and the giraffe like duck. Mojo Priest, even better. Right, okay, so Daily Mail. Obviously, so they taking an opportunity to have a go at Meghan again. William and Kate in slick new YouTube promotional video. Take that, Megflix. Oh, fuck off. Main story, of course, is Boris sending the gunboats because Daily Mail really, really wants it to be war. The red lights are flashing in the Daily Mail newsroom. They're running around. Cannot wait. Gunboat. Boris sends gunboats into Jersey. Dramatic escalation. Inside, Another full page about George Clooney's Warburton's ad. Like, great success for the PRs for Warburton. Daniel Hannan writes, Macron, the new Napoleon? No, he's a Poundland Putin. Macron and Putin have very little in common. It's fucking ridiculous. And also, Daniel Hannan, look at his pathetic little byline picture. He looks like someone did genetically engineered a bollock into a full-size human. Yeah, absolute war boners they've got for this stuff. Correct, Slinkermeyer. Full page on how brilliant William and Kate's YouTube outtake is. Who gives a fuck? How's that? Boris on hat trick is how they cover what's going on. Cabinet chief only learned of number 10 refurb. Trust in the Mail. Daily Mail loves to insert itself into the heart of a lot of stories. There's a picture of Adele swinging her hair around, because apparently that's a story. They really enjoy the opportunity to slag off Frederick Barclay as well. Reprehensible tycoon ordered to pay wife 100 million. Remember, of course, that their owner is Lord Rothermere, who's reprehensible in his own many, many different ways. Rishi told to axe VAT on post-holiday virus tests. Sugar's huge boost for Memorial. Lord Sugar is now backing the Daily Mail's Memorial campaign. Of course he is. Ben Fogel says, as it's claimed small dogs are more aggressive than larger breeds, a Labrador lover says, yappy little ankle biters make me howl. I'm sure the dogs don't like you either, Ben. Stephen Glover, the most zombie-looking columnist in British newspapers, says, what kind of country hounds its veterans, yet spares murderers? Oh, fuck off. Now 2 more anti-newspaper activists go free on a technicality. Congratulations to them. Alison Boshoff writes a 2-page feature on Nick Carman on how he made our hearts spin, while Liz Jones recalls that they once went on a date in the 80s. So there you go. Conrad Wolfie, the only war I want is for Romania to invade Liechtenstein after their prince shot the biggest bear in Romania, the prick. What a prick. Yeah, that's horrible. The bear's name was Arthur. Poor Arthur. We are a pro-Arthur stream here. Going to join the International Bear Brigades, as Mark notices, yeah. More stuff on the Paul McCartney stamps. More fear-mongering about youths. Monstrous monument to Modi's ego. As millions suffer in the pandemic, India's narcissistic leader is building a vast folly at a cost that could fund 40 major hospitals. No wonder, says David Jones, his nation is in uproar. Well, Modi is a piece of shit. But so's the Mail. So there you go. Right, on this day, May 6, 2020, May 6, 1932, the Daily Mail wrote, number 40886, as Chicago gangster Scarface Al Capone will be known, has arrived at the federal penitentiary in Atlanta, Georgia, to serve an 11-year sentence for income tax evasion. Meanwhile, May 6, 1980, the siege of the Iranian embassy in London ended last night with a brilliantly staged shock attack by SAS commandos, which led to the release of all the surviving hostages. In the shootout, screened live on TV, 3 of the gunmen were killed. Home Secretary William Whitelaw gave the go-ahead after gunmen inside the embassy executed 2 of their prisoners. Happy birthday from the Daily Mail to George Clooney, 60, and to Archie Mountbatten Windsor, who is 2, and whose mother they obsessively attack. Also born on this day, Marguerite Piazza, born in 1920, the US opera star, born Marguerite Luft, crossed musical barriers, performing at Havana nightclubs and at the Super Bowl. She died in 2012. And also born on this day in 1932, the Marquis of Bath, who died in 2020, was a flamboyant artist dubbed the Loins of Longley. On this day in 1910, George V became King of the United Kingdom and the British Dominion when his father, Edward VII, died. And in 1999, the first Scottish Parliament for nearly 300 years was elected. Quote of the day comes from Desmond Tutu, who says, we may be surprised at the people we find in heaven. God has a soft spot for sinners. And the joke of the day, what did the limestone say to the geologist? Don't take me for granite. It's not good, is it? In Female magazine, they spent years failing to conceive... What's that?
I know, it just annoys me every time. Female.
It's horrible. In Female magazine, they spent years failing to conceive. Then lockdown hit, and look what happened. Here, 4 blissfully happy new mothers share their thought-provoking stories. Slowing down our lives, sped up our baby dreams. Gone up a dress size, raised the style stakes too. By size 16 fashion expert Victoria Moss, fine. Are you anxious about giving teens the jab? No, says Melanie McDonough. Yes, says Rowan Pelling. Okay. Fine. Fine on both counts. Female. Perhaps we should read Female magazine tomorrow. In the replica of a past Daily Mail, we get vast crowd gathers in Hyde Park to hear defiant speeches from women the Mail dubbed suffragettes. We will get the vote. Fucking Mail trying to take credit for the suffragettes. Fuck me. Jenny Murray, unleashed and uncensored, says, the signs were there when I spoke to Melinda. Fucking everyone who's ever met Melinda Gates or Bill Gates is getting into the papers with this. You know, I was once in the same city as Bill Gates, and he said, oh, fuck off. In the true story section, I will struggle to believe someone will love me. From TV star Charlie Webster, a brave and harrowing account of the physical and emotional abuse she suffered at the hands of her stepfather. These stories are so grim. I feel really sorry for her. I also wish that this stuff wasn't, you know, handsomely paid for by the Daily Mail. Rebecca Lay, the debut novelist Rebecca Lay, raises an intriguing question. What would your family miss most if you weren't there? Someone shouting at the newspapers, probably. I don't know. The recipe for a happy marriage, cooking therapy, claims Harry Wallop. He doesn't think that. He's just a features journalist who needs to find ideas. In the virtual date, Faye, 40, went on a date with James, 50. She said, he serenaded me with a Tom Jones song. Great fun. He said she played with her hair and told me I was handsome. Faye's verdict, 8 out of 10. He's very friendly. None would she see him again if he was in London. James's verdict, 8 out of 10. She's charming and funny. Regrets, none. See her again, yes. Great result. Well done. Problematic age gap, says Mark Knight. Well, there's an 8-year gap between me and person in the room. Johnny Vegas on the... It's the other way, though. But Johnny Vegas on the buses in emotional journey for us all, says Christopher Stevens. Johnny Vegas, Carry On Glamping, gets 4 stars. Unsolved gets 2 stars. In the cartoons, Garfield meets the mouse who's been to a cheese festival and is happy about it. In Chloe and Co., Chloe and her friend are drinking and talking about men. And in Fred Bassett is just walking along thinking about how his owner is excited to see his friend's train collection. 10 years in your 40s isn't much. More concerning when you're younger. Mick has been groomed, says Mark Kenosis. Yes, I think, you know... an age difference between a 37-year-old and a 45. I was just going to say something. 45-year-old is fine, personally. Yes. Right, in the straight-to-the-point letters, Amanda Yates writes, what a spiteful, cowardly act of vandalism to destroy a nest. I hope the Ospreys are allowed to deal with the culprits. Jenny Wilson says, sorry, Janoir, the night manager was the best drama in the past 20 years, not boring line of duty. Paul Bartlett says, a failure to be able to sell may be acceptable at Hull University, but it brought the downfall of Buckles in line of duty. It just goes to show that bad spelling will definitely blight your career. Oh, fuck off. Peter Benninson says, fans appear to have forgotten it was the Glazers' money that enabled Manchester United to achieve success. Incorrect. Marion Barslow of Norwich, oh God, says, I watched with wry amusement the NHS TV advert advising you to go to your GP if you had a persistent cough. who's managed to see their doctor lately. Oh, God. M. Smith of Chatham says, I love the findings of the various inquiries into how Boris secured the funds to decorate his flat won't be... I hope the findings of the various inquiries into how Boris secured the funds to decorate his flat won't be papered over. Sandra Parsons of Kent says, we've shown the world we know how to beat global warming with the coldest April since 1922. That's not what global warming is about. And Vincent Hefter pops up quite often in this newspaper's letter page, says, with Tom Jones's album at number 1, he's top of the grand pops. Fuck off. Today's recipe is salmon with Thai noodle salad. Seems fine. You could get hold of a gold edition Ford Mustang toy car. Only 1,000 being made. Yours for 159 quid. Fuck me. Guybrush Street good. Fuck off. Anyone who makes that shit comment about global warming should be shot into the sun. Yeah. Glazers only took money from United, so that's the wrong defence, you idiot. Yeah. Toy cars aren't coins. £159, says Red Six Seed. I know. Trying to sell Manuka honey, as they often do. Summer chinos available in light blue, stone, navy, mauve, sage and sand. It's the Boomer Dad kit here. Get yourself 2 pairs of handmade leather shoes. Cars are the new coins. We've surpassed coins. It's cars. Invest in cars, but only toy cars. They're trying to sell a summer seacation cruise. It's a British Isles cruise with a comedy performance from John Bishop. No, thank you. And they have a robotic bartender, the humanoid robotic bartender who can shake up 16 signature cocktails. And in the sport, Turkish delight. Werner and Mount set up all English final in Istanbul. Chelsea 2, Real Madrid 0. And Instagram act after the abuse of Raheem Sterling. That was the Daily Mail for today. Thank you, as ever, for joining me. Give me your scores. I'm going to share the link for the Discord. Thank you to people who've been joining the Discord. Do share things in the Discord. It's really good to have people in there trying to bring it alive a bit. Much appreciated. Hang on, let me get the link for that. Boop. All right, there's the link for the Discord. And of course, it's been a slow one recently in the paper fund. But if you have the means and the motive to help out with that, help keep this show on the road, do throw a few coins into the newspaper fund. PayPal.me/conquest of the useless. And if you do, and send me, say, the price of a magazine that you want done in the magazine special, fantastic. Do that. Just put it in the comment with your PayPal transaction, and I will review that magazine. Thanks, Ged Station. Appreciate it. That's nice of you. Obviously, there's no pressure, and it's all, and I just appreciate people watching the show. Full stop. But it does help occasionally. More old mags. Yeah. Well, what I'm thinking is every third-ish magazine special we'll do a classic mag. Gold cars out of 10 for the Mail from Comrade Wolfie. Overpriced toy car out of 10 from Studying Fangirl. Minus cars out of 10 from Industrial Pet. Minus a million from Ged Station. And minus 20 for fear-mongering and shitty toy cars from Feedbacker. And a minus 10-year age gap from Mark Kenosis. I will see you all tomorrow at 1 p.m. for Friday's edition of the show. Hope to do something else fun and interesting for that. But in the meantime, you know where I am. I'm on Twitter. I'm also on the Discord. Do join if you haven't yet. It's a good place to continue our chats and stuff when the show is not on. Have a good rest of the day, everyone, and I'll see you tomorrow.